Prosperity is governed by law. Natural law first, man-made law second. Natural law never negotiates. It only responds because produces effect every single time. What people call bad luck is usually delayed consequence. What they call overnight success is usually invisible preparation, finally ripening. Here's a principle worth engraving. Value precedes money. Money chases demonstrated usefulness. If you want prosperity, become undeniably useful. To people, to systems, to outcomes, complaints. Do not create value. Drama does not create value. Reliability does. Most people overestimate motivation and underestimate rhythm. Motivation is emotional, and unreliable rhythm is mechanical and unstoppable. Prosperous people build daily rhythms that move value forward, whether they feel inspired or not. Feelings are passengers, not drivers. Now listen carefully. This part separates spectators from builders. Prosperity requires containment. If you cannot contain small amounts of responsibility, you cannot be trusted with large amounts of wealth. If you mishandle small agreements, big agreements will avoid you. The universe scales what you prove you can hold. This is why discipline looks boring, but pays violently well over time. An ever quiet truth. Prosperity follows identity upgrades, not income increases. If your identity says, I survive, you will unconsciously sabotage abundance to stay familiar. If your identity says, I manage, you will attract responsibility. If your identity says, I steward, you will attract assets. The outer world adjusts only after the inner title changes. Notice this. Prosperous people do not fear systems. They learn them. Fear keeps you reactive. Knowledge makes you surgical, whether it's finance, contracts, health, or time management. Ignorance is expensive. Curiosity is compound interest for the mind. And let's clear a myth right more. Prosperity is not selfish. Poverty isolates, prosperity connects. The more stable you become, the more people you can support without resentment. True wealth removes desperation from relationships. It lets generosity come from overflow instead of obligation. There is also a spiritual mechanic at play. Whether people admit it or not, prosperity responds to integrity. Integrity is not perfection. It's alignment between word, thought, and action. When those line up, resistance drops. When they don't, life applies fiction until alignment is restored. Here's a practical recalibration exercise. Simple, but deadly effective. Start asking, why isn't this working? Start asking, what does this training need to manage next? That single question converts frustration into instruction. Prosperity loves students who listen. And finally, the deepest secret, the one rarely said plainly. Prosperity is not something you chase, it's something you become compatible with. When your habits, speech, expectations, boundaries, and responsibilities match the frequency of abundance, abundance has no reason to avoid you and arrives naturally, quietly, repeatedly. This is not fantasy. This is mechanics. Sit with that. Let it integrate. The next chapter is already forming. Prosperity has a memory. It remembers how you treated responsibility when no one was watching. Most people think their biggest obstacle is lack of money. In reality, is lack of self-trust. If you don't trust yourself to finish, to follow through, to stay steady under pressure, the world will not extend. You'll leverage markets, people, and systems all ask the same silent question. Can this person be counted on when it's inconvenient? Prosperity answers that question over time. Here's a hard truth, told clean. Chaos is expensive emotionally, financially, spiritually. Prosperous lives are designed to reduce unnecessary friction. Not because life becomes easy, but because energy is preserved for what actually compounds. That's why structure feels restrictive to the untrained mind and liberating to the disciplined one. Prosperity also responds to timing. Timing is not luck, it's awareness. When you rush, you signal fear. When you hesitate too long, you signal doubt. Prosperous people act when preparation and opportunity intersect. They don't force doors, they notice hinges. Another principle most people miss: prosperity is reciprocal. What you tolerate teaches the world how to treat you. Late payments, broken promises, unclear agreements. Each one trains scarcity, clear terms, calm enforcement, consistent standards. These train abundance. Prosperity respects boundaries, the way gravity respects mass. Pay attention to your language. Words are not decoration. They are commands saying, I hope, programs uncertainty. Saying, I decide, programs direction. Saying, I can't, installs limits. Saying, I'll figure it out, keeps doors open. Cause there's not positive thinking, it's a system sinking applied to the mind. Prosperity also requires the ability to be misunderstood. Builders are often misread in early stages.